Hi, this is Tim with Modern Trailer Supply Company in Monte, California. I'm just gonna walk. I get a lot of questions about brakes, pintle hooks, and especially now hubs or drums, and the heavier capacity. More trailers now are within the 5,000 to 7,000 pound range per axle. That seems to be the trend. So I just kind of brought this out so I can walk you over a few things. Um, so let's kind of go. The first thing I think we did a video before about how hubs are assembled. Now this is going to be the 6, 7, and 8K hub, and here's the spindle, right? So if your spindle breaks or it breaks down, the spindle right here is going to be what the hub sits on. And sometimes if it goes bad, you're going to need to replace it. Now, if you need to replace it, you got to weld it, right? So you see this. This is a 42 grind spindle. It takes a 14125, a 25580, and a 1036 seal. And then you got an 8 on 6.5 hub that is rated between 5,200 pounds to 7,000 pounds. Now, so just kind of like the simplest thing. Let me grab a seal. So we got a seal. The seal's going to sit right here over the slip. And you can assemble the hub with the seal in it and then slide it on, but this is just all for educational purposes. So we're going to do that. This is an 8 on 6.5 hub. Now I'm going to slide that bearing over. This is the inner bearing, and you can see the seal is going to be pressed up against it. Now you're going to have a 14125 bearing, and the reason you know it's going to be good is if it lines up correctly, and you'll see this. We got the 14125 bearing on. We have the 25580 bearing on. We have the 1036 seal on. We have a 42 grind spindle, right? And you can see the bolts are here. What are the bolts for? They're actually meant for the brake. Now here's the brake. You see it's a 5-hole right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see the brake flange. Turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this thing right here, I never really understood it. I think it's a breather, but I've been doing this for over 20 years. We've been here 78 years. I still have no understanding what this is really for. I get a lot of like different answers. So as you can see, this is a 42 grind spindle. You can see the studs. If you were to have a drum, you can actually fit this on here. Now, here's your brake. 12-inch brake, meant for 5,200 pounds to, frankly, 8,000 pounds. I really think they're only rated for 7,000 pounds, but for some reason they press it at 8,000 pounds. And if I am honestly recommending to people, stay away from the 8,000 pounds. You don't want to do that. These things are not really rated for that, regardless of what people feed you. I've been doing this for a very long time. Now, you can see you have a backing plate, which is a brake system. This is the left side. And you can see that it's the left side by the way that the arm is coming down, right? And then you see this is a magnet. It's spring loaded. Now what happens is when you actually, they say you equip right, the brakes are working and all this and that. The way this works is that when the brakes are actually working, this magnet comes out and catches the drum. And the second thing that happens, this is a dual braking system. So the second thing that happens is that these shoes push out. And when that happens is that not only are you getting the face of the drum slowing down, you're getting the sidewall slowing down. So at that point, you have a, let me see here. Okay. So at that point, you're going to have the magnet, you're going to have the shoes, and a lot of people try to rebuild these things, and you should not rebuild them. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the way that things are now in this market, by the time you buy the magnet, by the time you buy the shoes, by the time you buy the springs, by the time you buy all this stuff, and you're trying to put everything together, it's going to be more expensive than just buying the whole thing assembled. These are kind of like topsy-turvy now. When people were rebuilding master cylinders and slave cylinders and brakes and you name it, they used to put together packages so that you can rebuild the seals, you can do this and you can do that. They still do that now, But by the time you buy all that stuff, it is more expensive than just buying the thing already assembled. And that's why things are kind of topsy-turvy now, because before it would be more financially, fiscally responsible of you to actually rebuild it. Now it's just like we got into a society where you just throw away things and pick them up, and it's cheaper. Right, exactly that. Exactly that. Okay. Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing. Like for an example, if you were to buy all the parts for this, it might run you like $180. If you buy this from the right spot, it can run you between $100 to $140. Okay. It makes no sense to do it. So just kind of putting it out there. If you are going to do work on your brakes, unless you're replacing just a magnet, unless you're replacing just the shoes, it's not going to make sense to completely rebuild it. So if that's the case, then just buy the whole thing, slap it on. The two wires in the back, everybody always asks about this. There's two wires in the back. You have a hot and a ground, right? And everybody's basically asks, hey, how do I wire it, right? And it doesn't matter. The hot and the ground, if you switch it out, it's not going to matter at all. So a lot of people kind of like mess themselves up. It's just simple. Take the hot to whatever, the ground to whatever. The brakes are going to be magnetized. Okay, and then the second thing here, we'll kind of get away from this, is going to be this pintle hook. Right, you can see that this is actually a bigger pintle hook. I'm the only one that really has it in the area. This is a 20K pintle hook, and they don't really make them like that. I actually have them specially made, sent out by Buyers Company. I get a lot of people who, there you go. You can see this thing. So the great thing about these pintle hooks is that you can use them with the donut. You're going to put a donut inside here. It's going to be for bobcats, excavators, basically big trailers. The other thing is it's good is because you can put a donut in here, close this thing up, or if you have a coupler, 2 5/16 coupler, the coupler will go over here. I don't have any example right now, but this, if you're towing, you're gonna know. So you can use this for a ball, or you can use this for a donut. It's gonna be the most universal thing you get, and that's where I'm at.